My name is Michael Brown. I'm the director of the Coalition of Conscience here in Charlotte. Thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time. I want to talk about something extremely important to you and to me, and something positive that we can do to bring about change. You know, right here in our schools in Charlotte, there are preschools where 4-year-olds have books on a mandatory reading list for teachers like Heather Has Two Mommies and Daddy's Roommate. Hey, let me read to you from the back of Heather Has Two Mommies. 4-year-olds in Charlotte are having this read to them. Heather's favorite number is 2. She has 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands, 2 feet. Heather has 2 pets. Heather also has 2 mommies, Mama Kate and Mama Jane. You know, there's a preschool here in Charlotte where the teachers are not allowed to address the 4-year-olds as boys and girls because that would be making a gender distinction. Instead, they have to call them friends. You know, there's schools in America that line up kids by sneaker color rather than by gender because you can't box kids into male and female gender. This is not imaginary. This is actually happening. Right here in our Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, it's school policy that there's a special class of protection now for gender identity. That means 16-year-old Johnny can determine that he's Jane, and he has special protection at the school, special rights. In San Francisco, if you identify as a girl, even though you're a boy, you use the girls' bathroom, the girls' locker room. A boy came home recently in tears because a girl was in the boys' locker room. He had to change in the presence of a girl because she identifies as a boy. Things are so bad in Massachusetts, where same-sex marriage is legal, that parents have contacted their schools and said, notify us, please, before homosexual issues are taught to our kindergarten kids, to our first-grade kids. The schools have said, hey, same-sex marriage is legal here in Massachusetts. We don't need to do that. You know what they've also said? The courts have ruled that it is more important that we teach diversity than we honor the requests of the parents. I want you to understand, there is not an angry bone in my body towards homosexual men and women. Jesus died for homosexuals just as well as heterosexuals. We need to reach out to them with compassion. But friends, there's an activist agenda coming to a church near you, coming to a school near you, coming to a place of business near you, coming to a court near you, a neighborhood near you. We need to stand together and turn back the tide of homosexual activism right here in Charlotte. Hey, there are churches in Charlotte that believe in books like this, Queering Christ by Robert Goss. Some of the most blasphemous stuff you could ever hear. They hold to it. You know, Myers Park Baptist Church, boasting over 1,800 members, 2 years ago, they began to ordain into ministry practicing homosexual men and women. Myers Park Baptist Church here in Charlotte. Friends, this is something that's not going away. 40 years ago, homosexual activists came out of the closet. Then they began to demand their rights. Then they began to demand that we recognize their rights. Now they're trying to take away our rights. Next, they want to put us in the closet. Friend, I don't know about you. I'm not ready to go in the closet. I want my light to shine right out in the public square. Increasingly, though, our religious rights are being stripped. Let me read to you. Washington Post, April of this year. Faith organizations and individuals who view homosexuality as sinful and refuse to provide services to gay people are losing a growing number of legal battles that they say are costing them their religious freedom. Examples in the Washington Post. A Christian photographer was forced by the New Mexico Civil Rights Commission to pay over $6,000 in attorney's costs after she refused to photograph a gay couple's commitment ceremony. A psychologist in Georgia was fired after she declined for religious reasons to counsel a lesbian about her relationship. Christian fertility doctors in California who refused to artificially inseminate a lesbian patient were barred by the state Supreme Court from invoking their religious beliefs and refusing treatment. How about this? Georgetown law professor Kai Feldblum, when she was asked, okay, what about the conflict between religious liberties and sexual liberties? Quote, I'm having a hard time coming up with any case in which religious liberty should win. In Canada, there are now a number of Christian leaders who have been fined and threatened with imprisonment for saying anything negative about homosexuals. In fact, they have been banned for speaking against homosexuality for life. That means even quoting the scriptures that the Bible is against homosexual practice and God has a better way. You want to see how far this reverse discrimination has come? In England, a bishop was fined £50,000, that's like $80,000, and ordered to undergo training so that his mindset would change because he refused to hire an openly gay man as a youth worker. Crystal Dixon, African-American woman, She is the former vice president of human resources at the University of Toledo. African-American woman. She took exception to an editorial in her local newspaper where the editor said that skin color was just like homosexuality. You're born with it, you can't change. She took exception to it. She wrote an editorial for the newspaper and was fired from her position from the University of Toledo as a result of that. Here, check out this headline from England. Gay couple. Look at this. This is about a gay couple left free to abuse boys because social workers feared that they'd be accused of discrimination against homosexual men and women. These kinds of things are happening in America today where you're not getting the full story because God forbid that we say anything that would make homosexuals look bad. You know, the last Monday of the month of June, our president, for whom we pray, gathered 300 gay activists at the White House to celebrate Gay Pride Month, to celebrate 40 years of the gay liberation movement here in the United States, to assure them that he is working to see their goals and dreams fulfilled, and to say that those who differ have old and worn-out attitudes. He specifically spoke of African-American churches, that he was going to help change their views, get rid of these old and worn-out attitudes. And he praised by name a man named Frank Kameny. He's a gay activist pioneer in his 80s. Frank Kameny heads up an organization that is advocating for harder core pornography to be available to more and more Americans. Frank Kameny, in a letter written in May of 2008, said that bestiality is not his thing, but if it's okay with the animal, it's harmless and it's fine. President Obama said, "We are very proud of you, Frank." Friends, the hour is urgent, but don't just pull your hair out. Don't just get frustrated. Citizen Magazine, Focus on the Families magazine, for those standing for righteousness in America, goes to 50,000 people in America. January of this year, they wrote an article called Something New in Charlotte, talking about the positive work we've been able to do in the city to turn back the tide of homosexual activism at the same time that we reach out to gays and lesbians with the compassion of Jesus. Here's the good news. July 25th, we're gathering more than 1,000 believers to surround a gay pride event in Charlotte with worship, prayer, intercession, and the message of the love of God. It can literally have a ripple effect around the nation. Our theme is God has a better way. Go to godhasabetterway.com. If we're going to have 1,000+ people, that means we need you to be standing there. Friends, together, we can make a difference.